The stock of Strategy, former MicroStrategy, 10x'd from 2023 to the end of 2024. But most investors didn't benefit from the 10x returns because they sold too early. Charlie Munger famously said, "The hardest thing for money managers is to sit on their and do nothing." In this video, I'll share with you what you need to know to understand the stock of Strategy. My name is Mariusz Konieczny, and I have been investing in the stock market full-time for 16 years. I'm also the author of 11 books on investing. Strategy is a publicly traded company that used to be called MicroStrategy. The company is run by Michael Saylor, who has become quite famous lately. Even though Strategy has a software business, most investors are interested in the stock because of its Bitcoin holdings. As of now, Strategy holds about 500,000 Bitcoins, which represents 2.38% of all the Bitcoins. Interesting fact about Michael Saylor is that he hasn't always been bullish on Bitcoin. In 2013, he posted a famous tweet: "Bitcoin days are numbered. It seems like just a matter of time before it suffers the same fate as online gambling." Only through education, he became extremely bullish on Bitcoin. And actually, something similar happened to me too. I was very against Bitcoin. I even thought that Michael Saylor was a crazy man. But after I studied Bitcoin properly, I ended up changing my mind. The stock of Strategy is tied hip to hip to the price movement in Bitcoin. Every time Bitcoin sells off, the pundits come out and say, "The Bitcoin bubble burst," and Michael Saylor will be forced to sell all the Bitcoins, making it crash even more. So when Bitcoin sells off, Strategy sells off even harder. Then the price of Bitcoin recovers and makes new all-time highs, and the cycle repeats again. If you are a shareholder or want to become a shareholder of Strategy, you need to build a conviction of steel. Otherwise, you will be shaken out of your position. You can borrow someone else's investment idea, but you cannot borrow someone else's conviction. I suggest reading the Bitcoin Standard. In this book, you will learn about the history of money, gold, and Bitcoin. Remember, it is only the people that didn't study Bitcoin that call it a bubble.
To me, it's just another bubble. In fact, it's probably the biggest bubble when it comes to how ridiculous it is, because I ultimately think that cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, have no value at all.
Michael Saylor's strategy for Strategy is to acquire as much Bitcoin as possible by accretive dilution. In other words, he's printing new shares of Strategy, which is soft money, in order to acquire hard money, Bitcoin, which cannot be printed.
By accretive dilution, meaning that you dilute the amount of shares you have in the company for a harder asset such as Bitcoin that is going on your balance sheet that you cannot dilute.
And the stock volatility helps him achieve that. Volatility allows him to issue shares at higher prices to the stock price at zero interest rates through convertible debt. This is because the holders of the convertible debt make money on volatility. How? Well, the convertible debt holders have the right to convert their notes into Strategy shares at predetermined prices. It is essentially a call option where the buyer has the right to buy the stock at a set price by a specific date. When Strategy's stock price is volatile, the option becomes more valuable.
Volatility is vitality.
Because the market cap of Strategy is above the value of the Bitcoin portfolio, Saylor is able to create a Bitcoin yield. In other words, it's all about Bitcoin per share. If he can raise money to buy Bitcoin by selling new shares at a price above the value of the Bitcoin per share, he views this as accretive or a positive return, even though the number of shares increases. And he's not going to stop. In January 2025, Strategy got an approval to increase the share count to 10 billion shares when needed to fuel aggressive Bitcoin purchases. In the long term, Michael Saylor sees Bitcoin gaining a significant market share in how global wealth is distributed across a variety of assets. Today, the total global asset value is 900 trillion, and Bitcoin only occupies 2 trillion of it, while gold has 16 trillion, real estate 330 trillion, bonds 300 trillion, equities 115 trillion, and money 120 trillion. Because of the fact that governments around the world are destroying the value of currencies by running deficits and printing money, he sees Bitcoin allocation to increase to 20 trillion and then later to 200 trillion.
Right now, we're about $2 trillion in Bitcoin. It's going to 20 trillion, then it's going to 200 trillion.
This would put the price of one Bitcoin well above 1 million. That's why he doesn't worry about the daily price movement in Bitcoin. He wants to buy Bitcoin at any price, any day.
Is there a limit to how much Bitcoin you're going to acquire?
No, I've said we'll just keep buying the top forever. Every day is a good day to buy Bitcoin.
Also, the President of the United States is embracing digital assets. And therefore, if the US government buys a significant number of Bitcoins, this would most definitely be bullish for Bitcoin and strategy stock.
The United States has the ability to buy this for a nickel and pay off the national debt. It'll be the greatest economic program of the 21st century for this country.
Strategy plans to spend 42 billion in Bitcoin purchases over the next few years. Today, the company owns 2.38% of all the Bitcoins, and they will probably reach 5% ownership at some point in the future. Today, the market cap of Strategy is less than 100 billion. If Bitcoin reaches a 20 trillion market cap, or 1 million per Bitcoin, Strategy will own 5% of it and thus have a market cap of $1 trillion. If Bitcoin reaches 200 trillion market cap or $10 million per Bitcoin, Strategy's 5% will be worth $10 trillion. Just like the upside, the downside is also pretty simple. Bitcoin goes down, Strategy goes down. Because the stock trades at a premium to its Bitcoin holdings, the downside can be a lot more than the downside movement in Bitcoin itself.
A lot of people don't really think. They're like, oh my God, MicroStrategy is going to get liquidated at Bitcoin. It's like, well, dude, no, Bitcoin could go to $1 a Bitcoin. We're not getting liquidated. We're just going to buy all the Bitcoin. If it goes to $1 a Bitcoin, then it's going to go back up again.
With that being said, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like the video, click on the notification button. And if you want to get notified about some other investment ideas before I make videos about them, I suggest you sign up to my email list, and the link to it is in the description below.